Thank you so much for being here today. I want to just start off with my gratitude today for everyone that chose to take this Saturday off to, be a little warm right now with the pamphlets, but in the sake of learning about the beautiful significance of this mural that is here to our left, and just understanding just the significance where we are now with the center. So I wanted to take a moment to thank, first and foremost, all the volunteers that made this possible, that were here since 9 in the morning, putting things together. I want to thank Terezita Romo, of course, with the Raza Galeria Posada. When they came up to me about this event, I was thrilled, and I know that she has been so just a light, bright in this journey with the center, so I really wanted to take a moment to thank her properly. Of course, I also wanted to thank Stan Padilla that is here today. Thank you so much. I want to thank Dr. Ella Maria, who is also here. And I also wanted to take a moment to thank Kelly, of course, with Sac State, who has been really one of the key folks that we've been working with Tere to make this possible today. And I, of course, want to take a moment to thank Don Porras for helping us with, all the logistics of being able to archive and record such a beautiful conversation that we will be having today. Lastly, I want to thank California Humanities. This is the grant that made it possible for us today, so we can be able to provide some yummy food, so we can be able to provide all the things that we need for, again, this beautiful symposium. So thank you. I just really wanted to start off with that gratitude. I encourage you to please fan yourself with the program and take a moment to step outside if you wish. It is going to be a little warm here, but it'll be cozy. Like I mentioned, my name is Jocelin Hernandez, and I am the executive director of the Washington Neighborhood Center. Thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I just want to start off with sharing who I am and why I'm here. I'm actually from San Jose, California. I grew up in the east side of San Jose on Ocala, and for me, coming here to Sacramento, the moment that I laid eyes on this mural, even though I didn't know about the history or anything, I immediately knew that it was important because I come from San Jose, and so I actually wanted to share a little story and tie it back to the importance of why I'm here today and why I'm committed to protecting this mural, to preserving this mural, and to also really preserving the center as well as we go into this new era. Back in 2018 in Eastside San Jose, with the rents skyrocketing as they are here today, the community, we woke up to find that one of our oldest murals had been painted over. And so that was the Mural de la Raza that was painted, completed in 1985 by Jose Mesa and Jose Mesa Velázquez, and it was actually in many of these stories that you hear, oftentimes the organizers end up marrying each other. So Juanita was a Chicana in the community that commissioned Jose's work, and they ended up, building a family together. Just like this mural, the Mural de la Raza was, a continuation of the Chicano resistance tradition. And so it was something that was created not just by one artist, but also by youth. The importance of the Mural de la Raza was the fact that it was a moment where we were able to provide youth an alternative to violence by bringing them together and putting on the wall their history, their desires, their dreams, things that we can't find in textbooks, right? Even today, we continue the attack on ethnic studies, and anything that we see now, trying to learn about our history is now being seen as something illegal here in the United States, when we know that as Chicano communities, as Latino communities, working class communities, we have built this nation very much, and owe it to our children to be able to access our history. It was deeply saddening when that mural was painted over, and I think that even the folks that were hired to paint it over felt sad about it, because when we came, it was a huge mural like this, if you can imagine, and there was only a little square left, and that was the Virgencita, and it felt like maybe they felt guilty even about painting it over and left the Virgencita there. Since then, we haven't been able to recover that mural, and so I bring this story here because when I saw this mural, I was like, I have to protect it. I have to support the community that is already part of here to really be able to protect it and preserve it, because even though the center owns this building, the center is also at risk of gentrification. And we see that with the new homes that are coming up across the street or around our building. And so, welcome. And so I share this story because as somebody from San Jose, somebody that was raised by immigrant parents, I come here with a lot of humbleness to the Washington Neighborhood Center, but regardless, I understand the importance and the significance of this incredible building that we have here. That's not only a building, but it has been a place of refuge for so many youth, for families, for community, and this mural here is testament to that. It was also a mural that was created with youth as well. So that is, why I'm here and why I love this work and, why I'm committed to it, and why I see that, the Chicano movement goes across cities, it goes across nations, it goes across borders and walls, right? From San Jose to Sacramento, the lucha for us to be able to preserve our cultures, preserve our history continues. And that's why we're here today, to be able to learn about, understand the significance and understand why we need to protect our murals, because we are definitely seeing a lot of the murals being painted over in these past, decades. I want to now go into very quickly about why I invited, where we are here with the center today. The center is in a very exciting space. As you all fan yourselves with your program, please know that we will actually be renovating the building in this year. And so we will be renovating the roof, the AC, the plumbing, a lot of the things that we need to be able to maintain this building in a dignified space. And in doing that, we will be able to bring back a lot of the facilities that were once part of the center, but throughout the years have closed down for various reasons. We will be planning to launch by the end of the year, the Ethnic Studies Library, to really center again and have a space for Chicano studies, for indigenous sciences, for intersectional solidarity, and really being able to provide our youth and our community access to this. We'll also be opening up the computer lab as well, and the screen printing lab. Again, testament to the legacy of the RCAF and the legacy of so many beautiful Chicano leaders that have been part of just like bringing in so much love into this space, and we really want to be able to honor that and continue it. So today I am so excited to learn along with you more about this mural, and I encourage you to please feel free to stay connected with the center. We definitely do need hands, we need help. This is not something that, the center has never been something that one person has led alone. It has always been something that has been lifted together. And so I invite you all to be part of this new chapter with us for the center, so we can continue to preserve the history of it, and we can continue to preserve the legacy of love that is here. So thank you all very much. You're welcome to come talk to me at any point, and I look forward to seeing your faces here again. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Notes. Okay. Thank you, Jocelyn, for that great introduction to the center. Oh, it's not close enough. Sorry. Thank you, Jocelyn, for that great introduction to the center and what we're trying to do here with the symposium. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that we are guests of the Nisenan, Maidu, and Wintu peoples, the original inhabitants of the Sacramento area. I too appreciate you joining us in this celebration of Esteban Villa's historic mural. It's an honor to host the symposium in this space where we can literally experience the mural and see what the presenters were speaking about. I'm grateful to Jocelyn, the Washington Neighborhood Center, the board, and volunteers, as well as to Kelly, the director of the Sacramento State University Library Gallery, for collaborating with the RCAF's La Raza Galeria Posada on this program. I also want to express my gratitude as well to the California Humanities for their financial support, which made this afternoon possible, and to Soul Collective and Dominic for the support of the symposium. This is the first event of the revival of the former RCAF organization, La Raza Galeria Posada, which began as La Raza Bookstore in 1972 and later expanded to become La Raza Galeria Posada. For many of us, the interest and excitement generated by the exhibition of the RCAF posters, which will be at the Crocker Art Museum in spring of 2026, is an opportunity to revisit, honor, and celebrate RCAF artists and community members, along with its former organizations. As envisioned, the La Raza Galeria Posada is a programmatic space for the research of the Royal Chicano Air Force, the documentation of its contributions, the curation and presentation of artists and community-focused projects, and the facilitation of community collaborations such as today's gathering. At its core, we will continue the RCAF spirit of art and activism while also educating present and future generations about the RCAF artists and organizations, their contributions, community impact, and cultural legacy. Thus, it is fitting that we begin by being here with Esteban Villa's mural, a co-founder of the RCAF. Currently, our activities include supporting the annual Dia de los Muertos commemoration at St. Mary's Cemetery, which you should mark on your calendar. It's going to be Saturday, November 2nd, an actual Dia de los Muertos. And then in 2025, we will have an exhibition marking the RCAF's Dia de los Muertos 50th anniversary at the Sacramento History Museum. We're also planning a regional celebration of the RCAF to coincide with the Crocker Museum's exhibition. A key participant in the regional celebration is our co-sponsor, Sacramento State's University Art Gallery, which will present a major exhibition focused on the RCAF murals and curated by Janina Lopez, who's going to be one of the speakers this afternoon. Other participants include Soul Collective, Tana and Woodland, Caneco Gallery at American River College, Sierra College Gallery, Blue Line Gallery in Roseville, Sacramento Poetry Center, and of course, the Washington Neighborhood Center. And our list continues to grow. We will have more information regarding all these events in the coming months. Before I introduce our presenters, I want to provide a brief historical context for the Villa mural. Next. Initiated in the mid-1960s. There we go. Initiated in the mid-1960s with the coalescing of what would become the United Farm Workers' national push for farm workers' rights, and with growing calls for educational equality, political power, and cultural reclamation, the Chicano movement morphed into a tributary of the larger civil rights movement in the US. El movimiento generated political and cultural advocacies in communities as well as universities across the Southwest and in the Midwest. The Chicano stance against assimilation was predicated on the integration of culture, art, and politics, along with the involvement in the national civil rights movement, anti-war protests, and student activism. The Chicano movement included specific regional struggles, such as the Spanish land grant recuperation in New Mexico, and the and the establishment of a political party in Texas. During the volatile period, many Chicana and Chicano artists abandoned art careers and dedicated their skills to promoting the movement's agenda by creating posters and murals, which became synonymous with Chicano art. In the fall of 1969, Esteban Villa, an artist and co-founder of Oakland's Mexican-American Liberation Art Front, also known as Mala F, arrived at Sacramento State University. Initially an art consultant, he became professor in the art department. In 1970, he joined fellow artist and compadre, José Montoya, and aspiring students to form the Rebel Chicano Art Front, which became the Royal Chicano Air Force, also known as RCAF. That same year, Villa and his assistants completed the mural here inside this multi-service center, serving one of the city's oldest downtown barrios since 1956. Titled Emergence of the Chicano Social Struggle in a Bicultural Society, it's not only Sacramento's oldest Chicano mural, but also deemed by UC Santa Barbara art historian Ramon Favela to be the first to have Chicano in its title. The impact of Villa's mural in the community was deepened with the RCAF's establishment of a nonprofit organization, the Centro de Artistas Chicanos, in 1973. The Centro was joined by members of the Breakfast for Niños program, La Raza Bookstore, again later La Raza Galeria Posada, and the Alkali Project Committee, along with writers, musicians, culture bearers, danzantes, and community and political activists, including Jocelin, a former mayor of Sacramento. The expanded RCAF ignited the explosion of Chicano posters, murals, art exhibits, music concerts, theater productions, as well as civic, cultural, and spiritual celebrations in the community. A close collaborator, the Washington Neighborhood Center became a key site of RCAF workshops and events. I met Esteban in 1974. No, go back. No, back. I think we've gone too far. Okay, I met it, the La Raza Bookstore. I met Esteban in 1974 when I was a volunteer at La Raza Bookstore, originally located at 12th and F Streets here in Alkali Flat, a neighborhood very close to the center. I became aware of his mural due to the close relationship between the center and the RCAF. The center was an important site for the Barrio Art program that offered free art classes, and for another RCAF organization, the Breakfast for Niños, serving neighborhood youth breakfast every morning. The mural was also the backdrop for many activities related to our Dia de los Muertos commemorations, including máscara making and Ojo de Dios workshops, as well as the community ceremonias. For us, the mural not only designated the center and surrounding neighborhoods as home spaces, but also provided a cultural anchor for Chicana pride. It was one of the many murals created by RCAF artists that was representative of the close network of Chicano community organizations and groups during the 1970s. Almost 50 years later, the mural is still a powerful reminder of this and an artistic testament to Villa's aesthetic innovations that continue to resonate. Next, Kelly, sorry. Today, we are here to celebrate Villa and the mural, while also sharing scholarship that they have generated over several generations. As you will see in our schedule, we will begin with someone who knew Villa as a fellow RCAF artist, muralist, and a lifelong friend. We will hear from scholars who will discuss the mural, the history, imagery, and contributions to Chicano and American art. A video commissioned by La Raza Galeria Posada will bring us Villa's face and voice, allowing him to be part of the tribute. We will end with a conversation with an artist and muralist who studied with Villa and other RCAF artists at Sac State, as well as worked with him in the community. Afterwards, the screen printing demonstration will draw its inspirations from the mural, a fitting end to our day. So now, with Villa looking on, I'd like to introduce you to our speakers in the order of their presentation. First, we'll hear from Stan Padilla, who I know many of you already know. He's a multimedia Yaqui artist, educator, and cultural activist. Through his work, he has brought ancient stories, myth, and legends to life and to honor his ancestors. Currently, he serves as an artistic and cultural mentor for the United Auburn Indian Community Tribal School. As a member of the Royal Chicano Air Force, Stan has been active in the civil rights and social justice movements. His artworks have been exhibited nationally and internationally. As a muralist, he has created large-scale murals throughout the region, and that can be seen at Southside Park, the Macy's downtown parking lot, and the California State Health Services Office. His collaborative murals honoring the RCAF, titled Flight, with Juanishi Orozco and Esteban Villa, can be seen at the Golden One Center. This year, he received a well-deserved California Arts Council Master Legacy Artist Fellowship. Our next speaker will be Dr. Ella Maria Diaz, and she is the professor and chair of the Department of Chicano Studies at San Jose State University and serves on the editorial board of Aslan, a journal of Chicano studies at UCLA. She specializes in Chicana and Chicano art, performance, and political activism during the U.S. Civil Rights era, and in the visual and cultural analysis of testimonio as an art of the Americas. Her first book, Flying Under the Radar with the Royal Chicano Air Force, Mapping a Chicano art history, won the 2019 National Association for Chicana and Chicano Studies Book Award. In 2021, her second book, José Montoya, received the Gold Medal Award for Best Arts Book and the Best Biography from the International Latino Book Awards. In 2017, Diaz's essay in Aslan was included in the Chicano Studies Reader, an anthology of Aslan 1970 to 2016. Janina Lopez is a Ph.D. candidate in Art and Architecture Department at the University of Pittsburgh. She is drafting a dissertation titled, quote, The Royal Chicano Air Force como Universidad, Public Art and Education in Northern California since 1969, end quote, which examines the screen prints and murals of the collective. It builds on her MA thesis about the 1977 Southside Park mural, which understands the RCAF's use of public space and civic architecture as a visual argument for Chicano presence. Janina earned her undergraduate degree at Sac State in art history. She's currently a research fellow with the Latinx Papers Project at the International Center for Art of the Americas at the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston. As I mentioned, she's also the curator of the exhibition painting La Como Universidad, the Sacramento Murals of the Royal Chicano Air Force, which opens at Sac State in spring of 2026. Jose Lott is an accomplished artist and muralist. He received 2 BA degrees, one in graphic design and the other in fine arts from Sacramento State. He has painted major public works throughout Sacramento, many of them via competitive commissions. Mentored and inspired by José Montoya and Esteban Villa, José not only works with many major Sacramento muralists, but also younger artists, especially those aspiring to be muralists. José also conducts art classes for youth here at the Washington Neighborhood Center. Please help me to welcome our first speaker, Stan Padilla.
Hi, everybody. I want to give thanks to all the mentions before for bringing this event together. You know, an RCAF event, if you've never been to one, is always historical. We're making history today, and that includes all of you. Many of you weren't born yet when these things occurred, but yet you're able to carry it forward. Thank you to the art history students. You're going to tell our story once we've moved on. So get it right. And you're getting it from the source. Today is oral tradition as well as historical, cultural, social. We learned from when we began the artist wing of the RCAF, which we call the tip of the spear, we were the ones that did the unspeakable. We moved and did and said what no one else would at the time. That was our job. And there's three people I want to introduce to you who worked on the murals, grew up in the movement, and carry that tradition. That is Nathan Villa. Could you please stand, Nathan? Mountain Lion Padilla. And Fred Gonzalez. And what I'm going to talk about today is on the wall, being on the wall, which is a different experience. To begin to understand this mural and the other ones and the work of Esteban Villa, it's important we can't look at it from today's eyes and the values of today. Remember, we didn't have computers, we didn't have cell phones, we maybe had a BlackBerry or, you know, something, those of us that could. It was still pay phones, and you know, so it was a whole different reality. This was social media for us. We told the stories. Our philosophy was that once a wall is muralized, it has a story to tell and it speaks. Today, it's still talking to us. The maestro Esteban is still speaking to us. He's still teaching. And as you know, he was he taught all the time, wherever he was. Those of you who know, we'd have to go. I'm taking a break. But he continuously taught wherever he was. He was an artist, true artist from my point of view. We've known each other for 45 years. We first met in the early 60s in the movement. We were both itinerant artists and itinerant activists, moving wherever we could provoke something to happen, we went. And so gradually, he settled at the university. I still continued to travel for a while and to cause good trouble. And I was from the valley originally. Juanishi, myself, Rudy, and Juan Cervantes were all from the valley. The other guys were all immigrants and came here to the university. And then we took them in and we taught them the ways of the valley. Then we all took off and began to build this. We just acted. We didn't know till later when the historians and the people who taught us and everything taught us about what we were doing. Otherwise, we were acting. I learned I was an activist probably in the 1970s, early 1970s. I didn't know. We did what needed to be done at the time it needed to be done in the best way that we could. Later on, that was called activism. Later on, I think in the early 90s, I met a young lady from UC Davis, and she was asking for advice, and she said, I'm majoring in Chicano studies, ethnic studies, and I'm minoring in activism. I said, oh, that's really good, you know. that's great. She goes, I only have one problem. I don't have a cause. And it woke me up. What do you mean you don't have, you're an activist, don't you? What's your cause? She goes, I have to pick one because by the end of the semester I have to have a cause to get my degree. And so that's the evolution of it. So the point is that these walls, this mural, when you really study it, I'm not going to bore you with how to look at art. You know, I trust that you get it, but the feeling you get, and what I want to talk about with what Esteban and all the guys embodied was power. So what is power? Power is that unknown energetic field that creates change. That's why everybody wants it economically, politically, socially. They want the power because if you have the power to influence change, you can control where it goes. At the time we were working, it was a very different landscape, a very, using a word of, you know, a very right-wing perspective around us. Our culture was drying, it was dehydrating. We stood up and said, like I hear it today, we're not going back. We've come too far now. And what we will do is we will sacrifice our positions, our professions, our hopes, or what our parents expected of us and obligations to our culture. We're going to stop and we're going to turn at 360 and we're going to begin to work together towards revolutionary change, change in social justice, equality, using art. And if you begin to look at this and use creativity, the power of creativity, and that's what we took hold of. Look at this, the hands, the feet, the gritos. This is a cry, a grito. You know, sometimes when you go to somewhere and you hear mariachis, and all of a sudden, I don't know what it is. It just rises up and you give a grito, you give that cry, you give that expression, you give that love, you just go beyond everything, all social barriers. What's acceptable, and you just do it. Look at this central figure. This is a grito, a cry for what? Equality, but more than that, and I'm going to get a little bit geeky here, a little deeper, is that multiplicity, a bicultural people. How could we live that real life? Oh, you can talk about it, you can read about it. A lot of people make their living off of talking about it. But our job was, how could a bilingual, bicultural, binary people unify as one, not to stay in parts, but to live as one and include everyone else in that. And this is what this is beginning. If you see this in terms of historical arts, this is closer to Jose Orozco and Siqueiros. Those were his Mexican muralist models, you know. Others went in the direction, the narrative of Diego Rivera, but he stood in, he took the parts and bones and gristle and fused them together. Classically, this is the rise of the phoenix. It's a classical story. His story is the rise of the phoenix, and the phoenix gave the rise to the grito, and the grito was to call to all the people that we're still hearing today from him to unify. Remember, this times we were in was the height, strength, and pointedness of the Cultural Revolution that was mounting against us, which we are now, you know, every day we're still working in that, the fields of the cultural wars, you know, for inclusion. So that's this mural. Again, I I was living and working in Foothill College, San Jose, Cabrillo College, San Jose City College at that time, painting and everything. And then Esteban said, "We need you at home. We need you. Would you come back?" And so I quit everything, turned around, and came back home and joined the group. So I wasn't part of the original university group. I wasn't a student. I came fully grown here and joined the group, and we began to move through the culture. So we're the veterans of the cultural wars, you know. We don't get any benefits from it. We're still fighting it, but that's what we continue. Now, with Esteban and Wanishi and I, we became the principal mural painters. Everybody sort of painted. It's like a lot of people grow gardens, but not everybody's a farmer. A lot of people can paint murals, but not everyone's a muralist. We wanted to complete that role modelship and that the science of it. And what I mean by that is we took it to degrees, and we're going to talk a little bit about it in a minute, that we weren't new to this. Chicano muralism didn't just start. This is a long historical trajectory. We were just in a certain place to do our part, and now what we're doing now is passing it to the next part. Esteban was a friend, a brother. Our families grew up together. We grew together. And most importantly, we exchanged philosophical ideas together. And I want to acknowledge Luna's Cafe and Art Luna for giving us the space, especially in our more mature years. That was our planning place. Art would come in the morning, he'd be doing his paperwork, and then he'd have to leave, and he'd lock us in, and then he'd unlock at about 2 o'clock or so. And we exchanged ideas, because what we're talking here is there's history, there's mathematics, there's social conflict, there's history, there's quasars. We had no boundaries, especially these three guys. You know, we pushed the boundaries for all of our people. We weren't real popular. We are now. But at the time, it was like, what? Are you from Star Wars? Or what are you guys talking about? You know, get down and march and paint your signs. And we're going, no, you know, the quasars, the prophetic nature, we knew this was coming, and that's what we began. So I pay homage to this mural as beginning roots. And if we study the trajectory of Esteban's work, he was very methodical, extremely clean and organized person. He practiced observation, paying attention. You know, both Jose, Esteban, Queso from San Diego, Richard Rios from Stockton, all went to California College of Arts and Crafts in Oakland in the late 60s. And what they were studying was Bauhausian philosophy and schooling. If art history people, you should know about the Bauhaus and the Bauhaus movement. That's where the model of the Centros came from. The Bauhaus was a place when all these people, the painters, the craftsmen, the dancers, the singers, all met and fused that all together, and that was the model. Both the maestros, the generals, followed the 7 principles of Bauhausian aesthetics: line, shape, form, movement, volume, and all of that. So what I'm proposing, and we'll talk about a little bit later, Chicano muralism is a reawakening. We didn't invent it or anything. We just gave a new focus to it. And Esteban was primary because he always supported everybody. And he was a believer in Chicano art. Oh my God. You can do it. It doesn't matter. Come on, get up. Let's do this. You can do it. Be proud of yourself. Work hard. All of us, giving us the courage to persevere. Because remember, there wasn't a genre or a place for Chicano art before this. We didn't, you know, the three of us and most of the guys, we didn't go to ethnic studies. There were no ethnic studies. We helped to create those positions in those places. It was every person for themselves, you know, and however you could make it work wherever you came from. So we had all these diverse tools. We were, almost all of us, including Esteban, were a first generation to be educated. So we were out on the front. We couldn't go home and, you know, if I asked my dad to help me with algebra, oh, mijo, you just fold it in half. You know, couldn't. And how to move forward with all of these things. So we pushed the frontier of finding what was our expression, how were we to do it. This is just classic, you know, classic Chicano muralism, primary, old school, first generation. But if you look at the principles, and we look at the movement, the symmetry, and the movement within the symmetry, the story, it can tell, you know, it was a long story, not a short story. This wasn't a poem. And that was, in the later part of his life when he was no longer driving, his kids used to bring him to the meetings at Lunas. And one time, Cassie brought him, his daughter, his youngest daughter, and she sat in on us, and she just kept going. She goes, for 25 years you guys have been meeting, and I wondered what you talked about. And now I know. And she goes, I'll never tell anyone. And that was kind of it. But our readings, our investigations, our experiments, again, with no boundaries of race, religion, creed, color, time frames, time zones, we allowed things to go. And then we synthesized all that. And we followed the Socratic method. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit in a minute. The Socratic method of developing a thesis, an antithesis, a synthesis, and then we would continue to grow. That's how the metamorphosis mural occurred. We were sitting there one day, and a butterfly went by, and then we all went, oh, that's what we do. And we're starting as caterpillars, we go into the cocoon, and then we fly. And that was that, oh, metamorphosis is next. And that metamorphosis, the flight began with a butterfly, which went from Southside Park to Macy's mural to the inside of the Golden One, and now is sort of the unofficial symbol of Sacramento, and especially resistance and change and growth, you know, and Renaissance. And 1 minute? Okay. How can I do this? So this is a long process, but I want to hear from the historians, the people know. I don't know any dates or times or frames. I can't remember all that. But honor this, all these traditions. Go back and look at the murals, study them. Take the time, especially you art history folks. Go back and take the time, sit with them. Don't just look at them. See them. See the components. See the geometry. See the associations, the feelings. Again, the power. We stood it on the preface, right here at the edge, and said, we're not going back. Oh my God, there's no bridge. What are we going to do? That we had to find a way. It was impossible what we were doing, but because it was impossible, we did it. And Esteban has always been a role model, a friend, a mentor, a provocateur for me personally and for all of the group, you know. And Enough said.